Hello, and welcome to Quick Charge. I'm Mikey G, and it's Thursday, November 9th. A fair amount of news from the desk of Polestar and its owner, Volvo. Following in Tesla's footsteps, Volvo has just signed a contract with the Italian Giga press maker Idra to install two of its largest presses at a new site in Slovakia. The Giga presses will likely be a reconfigured version of the same press 9000 that is making Tesla's Cybertruck. Now, while no word has been given on the value of the contract, Volvo has signed up for two machines. Idra, the company that makes these Giga presses, has also signed deals with Ford and Hyundai just last month. At the same time, the parent company hinted at a premium European automaker as a new customer. I guess we know who that is now. Okay, moving on to Polestar. Electrek was at the ground at Polestar Day in Santa Monica, filled with announcements, a chance for ride-along, and plenty of cheerleading for the brand. Sitting in the Polestar 4, it seems smaller on the interior than what we had expected. It feels more like a large sedan than a small SUV. It's not inherently bad, but we all know that the line between SUV and anything else has been walked on from car companies, the way that Johnny Cash would walk a sobriety test. But the head of design for Polestar said that the Polestar 5 and 6 will be produced in a new factory specializing in Polestar's new bonded aluminum chassis, which is a platform that Polestar is designing on their own. This is in opposition to using platforms from Volvo and its Chinese overlord, Geely. To that point, Polestar has announced that its upcoming Polestar 4 will be contract manufactured in a factory in Busan, Korea. Heretofore, Polestar's vehicles have been assembled in China. Now, the plant isn't new, but it is already owned by Renault Korea Motors. The plant will build the Polestar 4 for the North American and domestic South Korean markets. Next up, Polestar said that they expect to hit their lower end of their delivery target for 2023. The EV maker already had slashed its target back in May from 80,000 to between 60 and 70,000. So due to the lower delivery expectations, Polestar says that their gross margins will be around 2% for the year, down from 4%. Now, to get them back on the high road, Polestar also announced that they will trial StoreDot's, quote, extreme fast charging technology on the upcoming Polestar 5. This to enable the addition of 100 miles in 5 minutes of charging. StoreDot is an Israel-based company that has demonstrated battery and charging technology that they dub 105, due to its ability to add 100 miles in 5 minutes of charging. It also calls it XFC, short for Extreme Fast Charging, and doing some rough math on the average EV consumption, 100 miles would be about 30 kilowatt hours of energy, meaning that it would charge at a rate of around 360 kilowatts, if you can get that kind of juice in 5 minutes. And while this number isn't especially groundbreaking, as other automakers have certainly gotten in this ballpark, it would certainly be a first for Polestar. The head of strategy at Volkswagen Group America, Reinhard Fischer, says that Volkswagen aims to build an EV for under $35,000 in the US or Mexico. The automaker is also looking at sourcing battery packs locally to enable the vehicle to qualify for the tax credit in the US. This to be done in 3 to 4 years. Now, this goal isn't a huge jump, as Volkswagen is currently offering the ID.4 that comes in a starting price of $38,995. Other vehicles coming from the brand in the future are the ID Buzz electric van, that's expected to start around $60,000, and the flagship ID.7, which has a European price tag already around $62,000 for a starting price. So that leaves the brand with a hole to fill. And the automaker did reveal their ID.2 All concept back in March, an electric car that'll hopefully start around $27,000. So we all hope that this little guy can make it to the market soon for the sake of Volkswagen's numbers. Volkswagen announced it's pausing EV production at its German plant due to a lack of electric motors. A Volkswagen spokesperson told Reuters, quote, the production of e-drives at the Volkswagen Group component site in Kassel is currently only possible to a limited extent. Now, the halt in manufacturing will impact Volkswagen's electric models, such as the Audi Q4 e-tron and the Volkswagen ID.4 and ID.5. Now, this isn't entirely bad news for the company, because it comes after Volkswagen already planned to shut down production line at the Zwickau plant over the holidays, but really it was for low demand. Now, this gives the marketing team a good scapegoat in all reality, and the company's CFO, Arno Antlitz, said that EV orders in Europe were down 150,000. That's 50% fewer than last year's total of 300,000. Now, the brand isn't totally sunk. I wouldn't want you to think that. Volkswagen's EV sales share reached 9% in the third quarter, which is putting it back on track to hit their goal of 8 to 10% for the year of 2023. Hot on the heels of the United Auto Workers strike victory against the Big Three U.S. automakers, President Joe Biden said that he would support the United Auto Workers' push to unionize Tesla and Toyota. Now, immediately after the UAW came to its deal, Toyota announced that they would raise pay for non-unionized auto workers, this being a clear example of how union wins can affect non-union companies. Now, in a response to Biden's remarks, Toyota said that it wants to, quote, foster positive morale, and that, quote, the decision to unionize is ultimately made by our team members. Now, Tesla has not replied to this particular tidbit, but the company is known for establishing ground that is less nurturing for union efforts. Yeah, we'll put it that way. We can't do Quick Charge without mentioning some Tesla news. Normally that's at the beginning, but today wasn't terribly exciting for the big T. Nevertheless, check this out. A truckload carrying what appears to be brand new wrapped Tesla vehicles was spotted not long after the automaker announced a new program for in-house wraps. We can clearly see the new Glacier Blue and Forest Green are among the most distinctive wrap colors on display. These vehicles seem to be on their way to Gigafactory Texas, leading us to believe that the electric vehicles will be at the delivery event coming soon. In today's community comment found on YouTube, Lindsay Hatfield 9017 asks, "Can we have the specs in metric for the rest of the world, please?" Well, I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Hatfield, but I don't live in a communist country where we have to measure progress in kopecks or kilomiles or whatever. I live in America, where I can still buy a 3-cubit shovel and extend my basement to be my own private gun range legally, and I can shoot 45 ACP on my property because 9mm bullets are for the Axis, not the winners. Next time I make a gun range, I'm going to install a drain in the floor because it's hard when I spill big gulps, and it's also a lot easier to spray the floor off after I dump some McDonald's ketchup packets and then wind up stepping on them. But really, that's the extent of my problems. I don't have to worry about how many bumper-to-bumper Volkswagens go the length of a football field. It's 100 yards. Everyone knows that. Thanks for watching Quick Charge. I'm Mikey G, and I hope you have a Fahrenheit 12-inch ruler.